Hi Curslings. Today we're talking about the Resilient Jenkins. Now, I do plan to continue my deep dive into the Resilient Jenkins. In fact, I actually have part 3 ready to go on my editor. I'm still working on it. And then Blue and I will resume recording because it's gonna be more than 3 parts. It's a lot. However, there's been some developments over the last month and a half or so that I want to talk about, especially now that TikTok has been officially banned and now unbanned? Story still developing. Last weekend, it was revealed that the Resilient Jenkins are being evicted from their 1-bedroom apartment in Portland, Oregon. According to court records, the complaint was filed on January 7th, and a hearing has been set for February 19th at 8:45 in the morning. Now, this doesn't come as a surprise to me, as the Resilient Jenkins have garnered massive backlash since going viral in mid-October or so. And with their viral infamy, thousands upon thousands of calls have been placed to family services and presumably their rental agency as well. In fact, according to Desiree, the bio mom of the Resilient Jenkins' oldest son, D, she was told by the Department of Family Services that over 7,000 calls have been made between October and December 2024.
Yeah, Desiree called DHS and was told that they would call her back. They haven't yet. But they also told her that there's been over 8,000 phone calls to them about the Resilient Jenkins, and that she was going to talk to her manager or whatever and get back to Desiree, but hasn't.
So it was just a matter of time, in my opinion, before the Resilient Jenkins found themselves in a situation like this, as unfortunate as it is. In fact, the Resilient Jenkins' problematic living situation has been a major point of contention since they first went viral. It's kind of the reason they went viral to begin with.
Whether you choose to agree with our lifestyle or not, that's just it. It's our lifestyle. I could personally never come at another mama who I could see is just doing her absolute best and making the best of the situation in which she's in.
Turns out, putting their living situation on the internet was just going to draw more attention to it. Something you maybe want to be careful about if you're, breaking your lease agreement or occupancy laws, etc. At the same time, Stephanie made it a point to say that their apartment manager, social services, and the school were well aware of their living situation and were totally cool with it.
But if I'm being real with you, the folks whose opinions would actually matter, like, say, our apartment manager and the city in which we live in, all of the kids' teachers, really anybody who matters, knows that me and my husband have 4 going on 5 kids, and we are living in a 1-bedroom apartment.
Clearly not so much now, though, which Stephanie even briefly acknowledged in this TikTok.
So I just got some somewhat discouraging news, to say the least, and I really just feel like it's the devil just trying to get in my head and stop me in my tracks when I'm starting to feel like God's plans are unraveling for us.
Before making some rants about how people are horrible, which I find interesting because Stephanie, early into their vile sensationalism, and even before then, said that she knew that being controversial would attract quote-unquote haters.
2 minutes of posting it, it had 65 comments. But it was so nasty, and I wasn't in a mental place to handle all that hate yet. Now come at me. Put all the hate you want in my comments. Whatever, as long as it's pushing the algorithm. I'm ready for it. I'm ready for the hate. Because apparently that's how you grow.
And that they even planned for it.
I really feel like people just don't even think before they make some of these comments, because I think, quite honestly, a lot before I do anything. My husband and myself thoroughly thought through how much hate we were going to receive for posting and being honest about our living situation.
And that they supposedly chose to do this, that they leaned into it to go viral.
We had both assumed that once a video went viral, it would be because of some hateful comments. Sadly, hate spreads a lot faster than love in this world. But if it's gonna spread our content, then go ahead and keep on hating.
Claiming that everything that they say and do that they post publicly was carefully thought out.
Now let's bounce back to that viral video for a second, because if you've seen it, you may know there is some comments that are a little bit nasty. But this was something both myself and Drew were highly prepared for.
Okay. So you can imagine the whiplash people felt when Stephanie took to the Resilient Jenkins Facebook page in the last week to make many complaints about her haters.
Imagine being so bored with your own life, you have the time to just go around snooping into other people's. I honestly don't even know how y'all find the time. Now, to me, what a content creator chooses to post on their videos is what they decide to make somebody else's business. I don't know if y'all need to hear that again, but like I said, what we choose to post is what we made everybody else's business. What you go around snooping for, like I said, it just screams bored of your own lives. So on that note, I don't know why I would ever let that mentally adversely affect me. Like, public record or not, what does it really take for someone to be like, oh my gosh, I hate this person I've seen online so much, I'm gonna go looking for their court documents and everything? It honestly makes me laugh.
Sure, Jan.
As for the official reason for their eviction, well, we don't really know what caused it, as at least I wasn't able to view the complaint online. But Stephanie, ever the shining beacon of America's underfunded education system, helpfully filled in the blanks for us in one of her many Facebook tirades, writing, "How do internet trolls get away with what they do? I honestly want to know. How can you legally tap into someone's personal information and share it and not fall into legal actions?" I guess they don't have Google over in Oregon, but a quick Google search taught me, a Canadian, that there are actually multiple reasons why folks can just go find your information. For example, there's the Freedom of Information Act, aka FOIA. There's also the Public Access to Court Electronic Records, or PACER, and then there's the First Amendment of the American Constitution, which allows the public and the press to access criminal and court proceedings and records, within reason, of course. In other words, Stephanie, it's not illegal. It might fall into a morally gray area, perhaps, but morality isn't the same as the rule of law. At least not currently. We'll see what happens. Anyway, Stephanie will continue her tirade, mashing out, "Privacy is still a thing, and those who choose to invade privacy should be held accountable." Held accountable. How should we be held accountable for exercising our First Amendment right? Well, not my First Amendment right.
I'm sorry.
And listen, look, I get it. In the past, I might have agreed, but after 2 years on this platform, I've learned that a lot of people lie. A lot. People lie so much. And usually, they do it to manipulate their audience and the public perception of themselves to make money. I also learned that rumors tend to spread very quickly. And those rumors can be made worse if creators do not do their due diligence and fact check that information before running with it. Meaning that the only way to verify information from unreliable sources is to fact check it through public records if and when possible, or to ignore it. Now, is that invasive to confirm information? Some might argue, yeah, it is. But I would much rather confirm information that is already circulating and set the record straight if necessary than perpetuate a false narrative. And even then, it is still possible to fumble, as I did with the Doherty Dozen and their second mortgage. A mistake that only happened because I'm not familiar with American property records and banking institutions. The lesson has been learned. Anyway, after this, Stephanie then tells on herself, writing, "How is it anyone's business what kind of debt a family is in?" To which I just have to say, what now? What debt? Because there is nothing in these records that I could see anyway that mentioned anything about debt being the reason why you're being evicted or anything. I have not seen anything like this. So, but good job, Steph, on telling on yourself there, because it was anyone's guess as to why you were being kicked out, but now it sounds like it's because you're not paying your rent. But maybe you're referring to something else. I don't know. But now people know debt's a problem. So do you see what I'm trying to say here?
It's not her lease. It's not her lease. It's Andrew's lease. Andrew's on the lease, and she moved in there, and they are over the thingy. And Andrew's getting, it's an income restricted home, and they are getting, yeah, pretty much because they're over the capacity for all those people. And she's about to have a baby.
Yeah. And on the court paperwork, he is the only one mentioned. So he's the only one on the lease.
Especially when you come out here and you try to say that people are lying about you and manipulating the truth and witch hunting you and creating, how did you phrase it? Conspiracy theories, even though you yourself are proudly a conspiracy theorist.
I just gotta say, it feels really good to be a conspiracy theorist in this day and age because y'all are finally listening. You're finally listening.
Do you see how the things that we know and talk about and complain about or criticize about you are things that you put on the internet? You did it. These are things you do. Just helping you connect those neurons together, just making sure that those particular parts of your brain, the electricity is touching. But I digress. How about instead of publicizing someone else's life and trying to break them down for it, Stephanie continues sanctimoniously, you either shut your mouth or choose to help. Oof, this, by the way, is called dry begging, which is a form of emotional manipulation where the beggar uses the stress of a financial burden or the need for financial assistance to indirectly ask someone or a group of people for that support or assistance, like putting the pressure onto them, guilting them, making them feel like they have to help you because it's just so hard. We're facing all this hardship. So if you're gonna, instead of criticizing me, you should help us.
What a year this has been, and I just want to say I'm grateful.
You know what I mean? You know what I'm saying here? It's dry bagging, which really pretty much summarizes the entire Resilient Jenkins platform, does it not? Like, we're among friends, and if we're being honest, because friends are honest with each other, that's what this is, isn't it? All of her content is essentially dry bagging. Bagging to go viral, bagging for support and viewers, bagging for donations to their Amazon wish list, bagging for people to lift them up, or whatever, to care about the situation that they put themselves in instead of just taking responsibility and changing it. Stephanie didn't have to move in with Drew. She moved in with him a month after meeting him.
My fiance and I met together. I had my 2 kiddos and he had his 1 kiddo. They were 5, 6, and 7 at the time. And we just fell in love instantly. We wanted to merge our families, and the kiddos, they loved each other instantly. They loved my man as daddy, and his kiddo loved me as mommy.
And she moved herself and her 2 daughters out of her mother's 3-bedroom apartment into a 1-bedroom apartment.
Needless to say, we kind of just wanted to get our family together and start this family journey as quick as we could. My man was in a 1-bedroom apartment at that time, and we moved in. We're still in that 1-bedroom apartment, and we now have a 6-month-old baby as well.
But we're supposed to help. We're supposed to shut our mouths, be supportive, and help them solve the predicament that they are now in that everyone saw coming because, you know, do you hear what I'm saying? I guess what I'm trying to say is I would have a lot more sympathy for them if it felt like they were actually doing something. If they were actually taking accountability and responsibility and saying, you know what, this isn't ideal. This is what we're doing to fix it. Here's what we're trying to do. This is what we need to do it. I'd be like, you know what? Great. It sucks right now. There are people in situations like this across North America. I'm not going to judge. But when you get on this internet and you act entitled and you are stubbornly choosing to continue to allow your children to live in this kind of situation where they're sleeping on crappy mattresses on the floor in your living room and you're not friggin' doing anything about it, but argue with people and tell them they're haters and trolls.
We managed to set up a little area for each of the kids to have their own little bubble, which, mind you, would not be possible in the bedroom. That we have it now gives each kid the opportunity to set up their space how they like it, decorate the walls and areas around them to give them their own little aesthetic.
I'm just saying, for someone who claims to be a spiritual girly,
No, it's because you attract what you are. I'm crazy.
Stephanie should learn a little bit about energetic exchange. Just saying. Anyway, I'm getting off track. All this to say that I'm not going to be surprised if a GoFundMe emerges within the end of this month. Regardless of what happens with TikTok, I'm expecting a GoFundMe. After all, the Resilient Jenkins haven't had any issue asking their newfound followers to buy them stuff. They made a Amazon wish list pretty much as soon as they went viral back in October and November. They received thousands of dollars worth of items, including a bunk bed for Stephanie's 2 daughters who were sleeping on a dingy mattress on the floor. Mattresses, by the way, that Andrew then defended while deriding the intelligence of their critics.
And if you guys don't know, when anybody orders a bed is a giant piece of foam. When you go on to order a bed, it says foam mattress or memory foam with the pillow topper. It's all foam. If you guys didn't know, it's just I thought that was common knowledge, but I guess that's something that you guys know now.
Yeah, that also happened. And now, on top of all of that, Stephanie has now taken to her Facebook to try and minimize their TikTok revenue, writing, "We've had a great deal of people ask why we don't use the funds I've made on TikTok to move. TikTok is about to be gone from what I hear, and I barely make much on there as it is." A claim that she would then repeat in a now deleted comment to another Facebook user where she snapped, because she was annoyed, "I'm making jack zilch on TikTok. It makes zero difference to me if the app is gone. See, my views come from folk like you stalking, just to leave misleading, hurtful comments, and unfortunately that doesn't count for qualified views." Ooh, someone is salty. In her previous Facebook post, Stephanie also claims that she isn't earning revenue from her other platforms, writing, "As of now, I don't receive earnings through any other app," which currently does appear to be the case, at least for YouTube, as the Resilient Jenkins account only just hit 1,000 subscribers in the past week or so, and I highly doubt they've met the other requirements to qualify for monetization through YouTube's partnership program. Then, because of course there's always a then with these kinds of stories, Stephanie made this bold claim, writing, "Why would it be wise to stake our living situation on those means?" Are we being gaslit right now? Because I feel like we're being gaslit. It's because you told us that's exactly your plan? You literally sat on your TikTok and complained for 3 years that you hadn't went viral yet.
I'm really trying not to be discouraged when I'm getting 4 or 5 views on videos, but like, yeah, I don't know how to not be discouraged about that. I'm gonna keep pushing it. I feel like I'm gonna get a let through on Facebook or YouTube before I do TikTok. Man, I've been posting for 2.5 years on this fucking app.
And that you just needed to go viral so that you could have money for your family. It's funny how now that TikTok is being banned and has since been banned and unbanned, maybe, that suddenly Stephanie has the wisdom to know that putting all of her eggs into the social media revenue basket is a bad idea. It's almost like people tried to tell her that. Now, obviously this sucks for the kids involved in this situation, and I don't want to take away from that. This is awful. Like, watching this happen sucks. It is both heartbreaking and it is frustrating to watch emotionally immature parents put themselves ahead of their children while making selfish decisions with little thought for the potential consequences of those decisions, like posting to hundreds of thousands of people that you're breaking your lease agreement and occupancy laws and neglecting your children.
Not my problem, that's just not my problem.
And possibly smoking the weed while pregnant and a bunch of other things. But there might be a light at the end of the tunnel because Desiree, the bio mom of the Resilient Jenkins' oldest son, Dee, has filed for custody. Now, last I had heard, back in December, was that Drew had not yet responded to Desiree's filing.
Do you have all the evidence for court?
Yeah, I do.
When's the court date? I can't wait for you to get your baby back in good hands.
I don't have a court date yet. He has to respond in 30 days from the 14th, and as of now, he hasn't responded to court, but he has until the 16th of this month to respond.
After reaching out to Desiree privately through email, she confirmed to me that he did actually respond on December 11th and that they have a hearing in May. Up until now, Desiree and Drew did not have a formal custody agreement.
And yes, a lot of people are like, well, why didn't you do this a long time ago? I thought we could be cordial a long time ago, where it'd be like, hey, let's make it just how it was before when I had Deshaun and we went back and forth. So I don't know what's different now. I don't know why he won't talk to me. We don't have to talk about anything else but Deshaun. That's all I want. But obviously I'm not going to get that. So I have to take him to the courts. And here we are.
And it seems that up until Stephanie was in the picture, Desiree still had regular visits and access to her son. She says that this changed, however, after Stephanie and her 2 daughters moved in with Drew.
So I didn't know he was with Stephanie until Stephanie started posting all that stuff on social media. So I don't know how it was like when they first got together, because she wasn't posting anything. So I don't know what changed.
And because of state laws, there really isn't anything Desiree can do about it without a custody agreement for police to uphold.
Is it court order for them to keep her settled? No, nothing's court order. We're going to court in the NMA so I can get my rights. We have no rights. He is not supposed to keep Deshaun from me, but if he doesn't want me to see Deshaun, he has every right to do it. Which he's doing. Oh, it's nothing about my get. Why don't you pull up and call the cops? The cops won't do anything because we have nothing saying that I can see Deshaun.
Worse, it is clear, based on the way Stephanie talks about Desiree, that Stephanie and Drew have essentially alienated their son from his biological mother for whatever reason.
I don't know nothing because he won't talk to me. He knows how to find me. He knows I have a Facebook, even if we don't have phone numbers. He knows how to get a contact of me. Second of all, if he wanted my rights taken away when he had Deshaun, he could have done that, took me to court, done something, put me on child support. He hasn't done anything of that sort to me at all.
As on several occasions, Stephanie has made disparaging remarks about Desiree in her TikTok content.
I never walked out on Deshaun. And she tried to say that I left him when he was 2, but all the pictures that I posted of him on my TikTok are when he was with me at my house where I lived in Fairview.
Including falsely alleging that D has fetal alcohol syndrome disorder, which, as far as we know, he's never been actually diagnosed with.
Yeah, she said that. They also lied and said that he had, what did they say, alcohol poisoning or whatever when he was born. That's a lie. He was perfectly healthy when he was born.
Where Stephanie wrote in the description of that TikTok, which, by the way, is now deleted, I watch the struggles my son has to overcome on a daily, due to his bio mom drinking while she was pregnant with him. He fights through so many obstacles he never should have had to, had she just let go of her habits so he could grow and thrive while in utero. But he's a fighter, and he's got his daddy's beastly genetics to boost his abilities to become whoever he desires. Oh yeah. I should mention that Stephanie is also low-key into eugenics and fetishizing black people, which we will be talking about more in depth in my deep dive, because yeah, the heck? Anyway, in a recent Facebook rant, Stephanie would decide to double down on this claim in response to people calling her out for seemingly engaging with the devil's lettuce while pregnant, writing, "My stepson's baby mama is a heavy drinker to this day and drank while she was pregnant with my son." Okay, how do you know though? Because according to Desiree and her friend, they don't talk. Desiree and Stephanie have never actually had a conversation. They don't even know each other.
But she said he started acting weird when he started, well, every time he gets with a different girl, he starts acting weird with her. And this time he stopped all communication when he started dating Stephanie.
In fact, Desiree, with support of her friend Tia, have been adamantly refuting this claim.
And Stephanie has been trying to flip the narrative and make Desiree look like a bad person when she doesn't even know her. She didn't have an alcohol issue. There was never an alcohol issue concerning the baby. That was a lie.
Because they don't know each other, they don't follow each other, they don't have any connection outside of the fact that Drew and her had a kid together.
She doesn't know anything about me. The only reason why she probably knows stuff about me is because of him. But if he's lying on me, that's fucked up. But if he really hated me and I'm all this and I did this and I'm this bad parent, he would have took my rights when he broke up, when he went in his other relationships.
So how can Stephanie sit there and claim this?
How is she, if she claims, you haven't been seen in all this time, how could she still say that you're a heavy drinker? She said to this day. How the fuck would she even know that?
Exactly.
Well, she doesn't know her personally at all, though.
Well, we know how, because of Drew. But point is, without proof of it, it's just one woman's word against another, seemingly to harm the reputation of another while trying to protect her own, which is gross, by the way, super gross. Desiree has also voiced concerns about the well-being and care of her son, who she feels isn't being treated as well as Stephanie's biological children.
I'm tired of her putting this on a video. I'm tired of this on looking like sad and him always in a corner. I'm sad that all this is going on and she's still getting followers because she cooks and she's acting. Where was the loving when she was posting all that in the beginning? I don't really care about the followers. I'm trying to get my story out and tell people this is what's real and what's not real.
In fact, others have also noticed these discrepancies, including the state of his shoes before Christmas, despite the Jenkins having received multiple pairs of shoes for their kids from strangers off of their Amazon wish list, as well as the visible bites on his arms and legs, many of which seem to match the identifying criteria of bed bugs.
You guys can see his arms, correct? Thumbs up in the live, thumbs up, thumbs down if you can see them. People are saying that's eczema. That's not eczema. That's something tearing up his arms. For her to even say, I'm irritated about the comment, people saying, it's hypo. She used a big word, and I'm not saying it. But if you see the video, it's in the comments, because I read some of the comments out loud. What do you guys think that is? Because that's, literally pissing me off.
Although it's also possible that they're from fleas, as the Resilient Jenkins have had an ongoing, unresolved issue with fleas and lice. Yeah, there's that too.
Oh no, you can, if it's focused enough, but all them little black specks, those are freaking fleas. We've been dealing with this infestation for so long that I'm just like, I don't want fucking chemicals in the house anymore. So whatever we have to do to get rid of them without using gross chemicals.
Something that Desiree and her friend also brought up and expressed concern over.
So there were flea bites. Everyone knows that he had flea bites on him.
It's a new video, and if you see Deshaun's arms, you'll see what I'm talking about.
As they should, as any normal, rational person would. This kind of thing isn't normal. It shouldn't be normalized. It shouldn't be excused. And as far as I'm concerned, Desiree's outrage over seeing the conditions of her child is warranted. So now she's doing what any mother would do. She's fighting for her son, which I support, especially if it means that the child will be in a better situation. Of course I support that. And given the fact that the Resilient Jenkins are now facing eviction, it's kind of a given that he's probably going to be better with his mom, because she has a home. If anything, Stephanie trying to backpedal about her possible social media earnings is actually making her look worse. Because either she did make a decent bag of money and has seemingly squandered it like people think, because we got brand new pots and pans, we got brand new gaming chair, we have all this stuff, and yet situation remains unchanged, or she didn't, like she says, and just utilized her brief notoriety to grift for short-term gains, proving what we all thought or were worried about, which is that they aren't actually trying to fix their situation, they were just trying to cash in. Either way, I guess we'll see. What I do know is that Desiree says she's been documenting everything for court and child services, and that there's a decent chance that she will walk out of court in May with some form of parental rights, even if that's just a few court-mandated visits here and there. This is likely going to throw a wrench into Stephanie's aspirations of being a family vlogger slash homesteader slash crunchy mom, granola wannabe, whatever it is that she's trying to be. There's also Arlita lurking in the wings, who is the baby mom of Drew's oldest child that he abandoned. See, Arlita went to court back in October, which Drew did not bother to show up for unpaid child support.
But, yeah, Andrew, I hope you showed up to your court case for your child support. That was on October 2nd. It is October 29th.
So that's gonna catch up with them.
So yeah, keep thinking that they're in a house with two loving parents. No, they're in a house with two selfish parents who don't care about their upbringing and live nasty.
As it stands, the Resilient Jenkins aren't faring well, in the court of public opinion at least. Her Facebook page is a dumpster fire, and her YouTube comments are not much better. Not to mention her TikTok comments have always been... yeah. Anyway, that's it for me. I want to thank everyone for liking, commenting, and subscribing, with a big thank you to my mods and members. As always, you guys are rad, and I'll catch you in the next one. Bye!